I wake up to silence that feels expensive. Not the normal silence of an early morning, but the kind that has been engineered, climate-controlled, buffered, watched. I don't recognize the ceiling. I don't recognize the weight in the room either. Then it clicks, slowly, like a bad software update finishing in the background. I am the President of the United States. For one day. The title lands before the meaning does. It doesn't feel heroic. It feels administrative, like a password I was never supposed to have. Somewhere outside this room, an entire machine is already moving because I exist inside it now. I haven't said a word. I haven't made a choice. Still, things are happening. Someone clears their throat near the door, not loudly, respectfully. The door doesn't open until I look at it. That's when I notice it. The way reality is now slightly tilted in my direction. People wait for my attention the way objects wait for gravity. Yesterday, I stood in lines. Today, doors open before I reach them. My name is spoken differently, softer, slower, like it might break something if mishandled. I catch my reflection in a polished surface, and it doesn't help. Same face, same mind, completely different consequences. There's a low, constant hum of presence around me. Security that pretends not to exist. Assistants who already know what I haven't been told yet. Screens light up with briefings I didn't ask for. Decisions stacked on top of each other like plates at a diner that never closes. I haven't earned this. That's the part that sticks. Not in a moral, dramatic way, just a quiet, grinding discomfort. Nothing about my internal wiring changed overnight, but everyone else's behavior did. People nod before I finish sentences. Someone laughs a little too quickly at something that wasn't a joke. Another person writes down a comment I made to myself. Every word now has a shadow. Every sentence trails consequences I can't see yet. My phone isn't really a phone anymore. It's a delivery system for urgency. Messages arrive marked with classifications instead of emojis. Problems arrive fully formed, already late, already dangerous. I'm expected to react like this is normal, like I was trained for this. Like authority is something you grow into instead of something that simply drops on you, uninvited. I feel overdressed in power, like a kid wearing an adult's coat. Too heavy, too long, knocking things over when I turn. Nobody asks if I'm ready. Readiness isn't part of the job description. The system assumes compliance, not comfort. It doesn't care how yesterday me would have reacted. Today me is a role, and the role speaks whether the person inside it understands the language or not. I haven't done anything yet, and already the day feels louder than I can think. By midday, I stop pretending I'm going to use this power responsibly. Not recklessly, just honestly. That's the difference everyone warns me about, as if honesty is a controlled substance. I cancel the polished speech I'm supposed to give. I replace it with something shorter and worse. I speak without metaphors. I say what policies actually trade, who they quietly protect, and who they are designed to exhaust until silence feels easier than resistance. I don't raise my voice. I don't dramatize. That's what makes it uncomfortable. People aren't used to power speaking plainly. They're used to it performing. The room stiffens. Someone nearby stops typing. I can feel the panic ripple outward. Not because what I'm saying is false, but because it's unfiltered. Truth is only safe when it's dressed up as intention. Within minutes, the headlines start writing themselves. Not about what I said, but about what it means. Analysts argue over tone instead of content. A sentence I said casually becomes a signal. A pause becomes a warning. Nobody seems interested in whether I'm right. They're busy decoding whether I was allowed to say it. So I do something worse. I leave. No motorcade announcement, no cameras invited. I ask to visit people who never show up in campaign footage, workers buried in paperwork loops, families waiting on approvals that never come, veterans stuck between agencies that keep passing responsibility like a hot object. I don't bring press. That alone causes suspicion. The absence of cameras is treated like an aggressive act. I sit. I listen. I don't promise anything. I don't frame it as empathy. I just hear them, which somehow becomes a bigger story than any bill I could sign. Later, I find out it's already being spun as a strategy. I buy lunch for a group of people using my own money, which apparently still counts as public symbolism. Someone writes an article about what the sandwiches represent. Another speculates about the brand. Nobody asks the people eating if it helped. At some point, I tweet something I was advised not to. No slogans, no positioning. Just a sentence that would have gone unnoticed yesterday if I'd said it as myself. Today, it becomes a national argument. Half the country reads malice into it. The other half reads courage. I meant neither. I meant accuracy. That's when it really sinks in. Meaning doesn't belong to the speaker once power enters the room. Influence hijacks language. Words stop being communication and turn into weapons people fight over without checking what they were originally built for. I start breaking smaller rules. I ignore donors.
Absolutely.
I take calls I'm not supposed to.
Although
I
might
admit
have some
uncertainty
minor
in places where
reservations about the
confidence is
timeline.
expected, and I show confidence where I'm supposed to hedge. Each deviation creates more noise than any scandal I could manufacture on purpose. By afternoon, I'm both amused and unsettled. The system reacts faster than thought. It anticipates danger where there is none and overlooks it where it's familiar. Truth isn't controversial because it's sharp. It's controversial because it bypasses the filters everyone depends on to feel safe. I notice something else, too. People don't argue with my ideas. They argue with my right to have them. The same sentence spoken by someone else would be ignored or dismissed. Spoken by me, it demands response. Authority doesn't amplify truth. It grants permission for truth to exist in public without being immediately erased. That realization sits heavier than the power itself. As the day wears on, the chaos grows. Statements are clarified. Intentions are walked back. Entire teams scramble to sand down the edges of things I said on purpose. I watch from the inside, slightly detached, like I've been given a backstage pass to my own misinterpretation. I'm not disturbed by backlash. I expected that. What unsettles me is how easily reality bends, how fragile meaning becomes when filtered through status, how little truth matters compared to who is holding the microphone. By evening, I understand the real danger of power isn't corruption. It's distortion. It changes how everything sounds, even when you're trying to speak normally. Tomorrow, this ends. Someone else will wake up in this role, and the machine will keep humming. But today leaves a residue I won't be able to shake. The knowledge that reality listens less to truth than it does to titles, and that the most forbidden act in a position like this isn't abuse. It's saying exactly what you see and letting people deal with it. As the day winds down, the room feels smaller. Not physically, symbolically. The attention thins out first. Fewer people hovering. Fewer interruptions disguised as urgency. I can sense the system beginning to exhale, already preparing for my absence. Power, it turns out, has a closing time. I'm still protected, still escorted, still addressed carefully, but the reverence has softened. The machine knows this is temporary. It always does. Authority is less loyal when it knows you're about to be ordinary again. Tomorrow, my words won't land the same way. I'm aware of that now in a way I wasn't this morning. The sentences I formed today bent rooms, markets, and headlines. Tomorrow, they'll just sit there, unquoted, unanalyzed, unthreatening. Doors will stop opening early. Security will stop pretending not to exist. Rules will reattach themselves to me like gravity returning after a brief malfunction. There's a strange relief in that, and something like grief. I realize how misleading the fantasy of power really is. Fame doesn't erase problems, it swaps them out. You trade invisibility for surveillance, privacy for interpretation, silence for constant performance. Every moment becomes a potential statement, every absence suspicious, every normal human reaction a data point. You don't get to be tired in peace. You don't get to be wrong quietly. I joke to myself that borrowing power for one day is easy. Anyone could do it. Living inside it is the part that looks unbearable. Not because of responsibility, that's manageable, but because nothing belongs to you anymore. Not your time, not your voice, not even your intentions. As night falls, I notice how tired I am. Not physically, existentially. The kind of tired that comes from being watched too closely for too long. From knowing that even sincerity has optics, and that honesty requires a team of people standing by to contain it. I think about tomorrow me. The version of me who will wake up without briefings, without protection, without a sentence causing ripples just by existing. There's comfort in that, but also discomfort, because now I know how uneven the world really is, not in theory, but in sensation. Influence isn't moral, it's positional. It doesn't care who deserves it, it just flows where it's assigned, then moves on. When this ends, I don't return enlightened or empowered. I return aware, a little disillusioned, permanently unable to unfeel how fragile attention is, how arbitrary authority can be, and how temporary the loudest voices really are. Tomorrow I'll speak again as myself, and the room will stay quiet. That might be the most honest part of this entire experience. A stick figure character inspired by a well-known former U.S. president, exaggerated and symbolic, but not realistic. Large round head, simplified facial features, distinctive swept-back blonde hair shape, as a flat, solid color. Thick eyebrows, small dot eyes. Confident smirk expression, wearing a dark suit jacket with a red tie. Upright posture, with slightly puffed chest, suggesting authority and ego. Thin stick arms and legs, thick black outlines, flat colors only. Minimal detail, no realism. No likeness accuracy, symbolic caricature style rather than portrait. Neutral white or warm yellow background, no text, no symbols, no props. No realism, no 3D, no cinematic lighting, no photorealism.